everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel video conversation, which I really call them my sacred space that I share with amazing human beings. And today I have Danielle Stotijn with me. She is a spiritual teacher, guide, messenger of truth, the creator of many spiritually guided programs online and offline, the author of The Path to Awakening, Master Your Mind, Body, and Spirit, Consciousness and Autonomy, Health and Light. Of course, I don't want to limit who she is because these are just labels. So I would love for you to expand on the topic of who you are, Danielle.
Who I am. Well, thank you very much, first of all, for having me. Thank you to your audience for inviting me over. Who I am. My name is Danielle. I am in this human body at this moment, 44 years old. I'm a mother of 2 boys, 12 and 14 years old. I have my own company, my own coaching company, which is called Mastery. You see that here at the back. I am a coach and I am an alchemist. I like to explain what I do and what my gifts are under the label of alchemy, because it's very widespread. I work as a coach and as a trainer with individuals on their spiritual development, personal development, professional development, team development, or organization development. And I always say it's one and the same trick, right, because I bring alignment in every system. And I work holistically. So when I work with somebody, I connect to their heart. I see their blueprint. I feel where the system they're coming from is out of alignment or in flow. I see the history, I see the background, and it doesn't matter where I am. You can place me in an organization with a management team, or you can put me in direction with somebody who is in a deep, dark night of the soul. What I do is I bring back balance, I bring back enlightenment, and I bring light and peace. That's what I'm here for. Wow. When I was younger, I always said I wanted to be an angel when I grow up. And
yeah.
I think I kind of already become that. Angel wings.
I know, that's so beautiful. I love that you remember that when you're little, right? You had that remembrance of being an angel, right? And that actually is my question, one of my questions for today. How did you come to do what you do today? How did you discover these gifts, divine gifts?
Yes, well, then we talk about my awakening really to who I truly am. I always say I never slept because I can see everything, everyone, which was very confusing. Yeah. But it took me a long time before I became conscious of myself, self-conscious, self-confident. I think I had to walk my path and go through and experience what I had to experience in my background. I come from a difficult background, but if I look at my profession, I worked in very large companies to also understand over there what can go wrong systemically. And then I started inviting over trainers, teachers, because I ran the international university. And I thought, wow, if I grow up, I want to be just like that lady. And I started doing all my coaching, psychology training, systematic training. And alongside, I was finding back my spiritual path. And then everything just came together and I kind of pieced everything together. I look at things very holistically. So I've got a herbal background as well. I've got I did body work. I did coaching work. I did psychology work, and I kind of integrated everything. And then I started to discover that, yes, I can translate everything, I hope so, and make it very easy. So not everybody has to read all of these books that I've read. And I'll just take out little pieces and I make drawings, and I very quickly can see where people are blocked off or what timelines they carry with them that are keeping them stuck in the same loop.
Wow. Yeah, that's something that we all need help with, the loops that we get ourselves into it, the patterns, right? Another question that comes to me, what are the foundation for your spiritual teachings? Are they, I would love to know more about them. Are they founded in the Christian belief system, or is that a universal truth?
It's very eclectic. I love scripture. I've always loved scripture, but I always felt that it wasn't complete. I always felt that when I was in church, there was so much missing. So that kind of came back, and I still work with scripture, but I work with lost scripture. If we look at the rest of my mastery teachings, it's very much based on the transactional analysis and on the teachings of Carl Jung. And I kind of eclectically pick everything and put it back together. So I merge the Eastern science with the Western science to look at it holistically. Because I have studied yoga as well. I have studied Hindu backgrounds. I have studied Christian backgrounds. I've studied Western psychology. And everything has pieces of real truth.
Right.
But if you get everything back together, you get a holistic view of cause and effect.
Right.
And I think that's where humanity kind of got lost. We kind of got disconnected from our true spiritual nature and the divine laws of the universe. And I think mankind did have little pieces of information, but because of the division that occurred through religion and through politics, didn't allow us to merge all this knowledge together, but it divided us, and it became one big match of who is better, best, and more knowledgeable than the others. Yeah. And that's where conditioning started. And what I aim to do is to really integrate everything, all religion, all teachings, everything into unconditional truth.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful way to say that, unconditional truth. I remember when I heard unconditioned presence. I remember that kind of touched me in a profound way. That word, unconditioned.
It creates a lot of space, doesn't it? It creates a lot of
space
to exist the way you are with everything that it means to be a human.
Right.
It allows you to be everything that you are, human and spirit.
Wow. That is such an amazing vision to have. I know you can see that already, what it looks like to have this unconditioned presence, love, awareness. But for me has been this little by little kind of uncovering of that. Yeah. So, and that's funny that today I woke up thinking about that. I mean, I went to sleep kind of meditating and reflecting on consciousness and why does it focus so much on one thing a lot of times? I see that, like, why do I wake up and look at the clock instead of looking at the tree or something else in my room that I can see? Why do I look at the clock?
That's conditioning. That's conditioning. Right. That's what you are taught to do. That's what you are taught as a human doing, really, not a human being. A human being would always look for that space and work with the flow that comes through you, to listen to your intuition. And what I do is kind of recalibrate people to live not from the outside in, not to be focused on the outside, on the time, on the clock, on your agenda, on all the people that need something to you, but pull them back in first and live from the inside out. And I think that's where a lot of stress is caused, that we learn to focus on the outside instead of the inside. And this is mirrored and taught to us by generations coming before us. I think it's a long, long, long way back that you and my grandmothers were the wisest one of the families, who knew how to heal, who knew how to work with the energies, with the nature, with everything around them, who knew who had to create. But somewhere along the line, we've lost that. We've lost that knowledge. We've lost that intuitive flow. And we started to connect to everything, to conditions outside of us, because that's what is being taught through all of our systems. And what I teach, and it doesn't really matter, because you said, why do I look at the clock, or why does spiritual teaching focuses so much on one thing? It actually just comes down to, how are you connected to yourself, and how are you connected to other beings? How conscious are you of the vibrations that you are feeling from the inside and that you're translating outside? And I kind of recalibrate people and teach them how to communicate from a place of love, respect, community. And it doesn't really matter where I am. I mean, you can put me in a banking organization, or a profit organization, or a school, or I work with teachers or people that come to me in a burnout. Eventually, they've lost connection with the fact that you can wake up and look at a tree and be happy.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's what I woke up today thinking. Why can't I look at something else? And that kind of, well, I can't do that. Now I can, of course, but it takes an effort. Yeah, it takes effort.
It's a hard reality of the fact that in this modern world, we want to be spiritual, but we cannot all go sit on a mountain and meditate all day. And matter of fact, that's not very spiritual to me either, because I really love compassionate action. That for me is spirituality. If you really open your gifts and clear and alchemize yourself to be a really true, good, loving human being, and then share that out through the creations, through your eyes, through your energy. Nobody is helped with people who go sit on a mountain and be very spiritual. But we have to deal with modern society, and there is clocks, alarms, agendas. There is stress everywhere.
So true. I love the way you say that. Yeah, we have to, in a way, we have to integrate, right, Danielle, everything into what we call a spiritual life.
And that's my aim, to bring with mastery and with my teachings, to bring the old scriptures back into, and the old spiritual teachings back to, in a modern day understanding, because things are very different right now. We are dealing with so many more toxicity than back in the days, but the basic outlines are still the same, but the words don't resonate anymore. So I'm always trying to look at, how can I teach the same thing, because I'm actually teaching the same things from scripture or spirituality or the psychology from ages ago, but using different words, just really putting it into a modern day context.
Yeah, that's what we need. The type of guidance that we can apply in a practical sense, almost like immediately, instantly, we can apply their wisdom. I really appreciate the way you speak too. It's very clear. Your work, it's very profound, and it's very rich. The information is just, I couldn't stop. And I had so many notes, as I said, off record. But how amazing how you're so generous in giving all this information with this beautiful intention to, of course, bring humanity to a place of harmony again. That's what some of us want, working to achieve in this lifetime. We're like, hurry up, we want to see this to happen before we lose the body. So, but talk to me for a moment about the main, I would say the main purpose of writing your book, The Path to Awakening.
Okay. My main purpose always is to bring light and to bring back balance. But I think the past few years have really put all of my work into context. I have been worried for years. I have seen the development of humanity and our systems, our children, our healthcare systems, our psychology systems go the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I always thought when I was a little girl and I came in, I was interested in astrology, in herbs, in, well, everything very natural. And I thought, oh, everybody knows this and we're going to build this up. And this is the new way of living. Yeah. And I just couldn't believe it for years that we're actually going the other way.
Aye.
We're becoming more, there's more toxicity in the air and the water. There's more people with burnout, depression, having tags like ADHD. I really feel that we're going the wrong way. There are so many people who come to me in my practice who suffer from burnout and depression. Yeah. And it's dreadful to see that. And on the other hand, it's very good because it's actually your spirit saying, this is not okay. This is not good for me. The way I am leading my life, the way I'm feeding myself, the way it's not okay. So my book, my purpose is to really pivot and assist people to find the light instead of cycling downwards into darker areas. And it's a normal thing because life is contrast, but I really feel that our systems are not supporting people enough to become healthy, to become autonomous, and to become enlightened and happy and peaceful. So that's a big answer. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I could listen to it all lifelong. I have to say. So the word autonomous, that caught my attention because it's interesting. I remember when I heard this word for the first time from a spiritual teacher, I think from Australia, I forgot his name now. I remember thinking, whoa, but that means being independent. And I don't want to be independent because I know everything's connected. We're all interconnected. Yes. So, yeah, so I would love for you. I remember thinking that way because I didn't know how to process this word or the idea, the concept. But talk to me about what it means to be autonomous.
Okay. It's a complex word. And it's actually a word that allows me to do my spiritual work wherever I am. Also, when I'm dealing with directors in business, in blah, 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 when I say autonomous, I am allowed. When I say intuition, which is actually the same, because autonomous means that you are authentic, that you feel free, and that you are conscious, aware, and take responsibility of your own pain, your own story, your own life, that you take responsibility for your own needs, for your own longings, for your own boundaries, for your own qualities, gifts, and for your own challenges. That whole complete package is actually being on a spiritual path. So autonomous, it sounds attractive to people because yes, there's freedom in there. There's, I can be who I am, and you can if you disconnect from the script, from the ego matrix structures that you have been conditioned into and continued living from thoughts, from emotions, from behaviors that you now are repeating because that's how you've been taught to be, to think, and to do, which is not always, and most of the time not, in alignment who you are supposed to be from a spiritual perspective, who you are autonomously in potential can be. If you realign with your heart, if you dare to say to your family members, I'm sorry, this is not for me. I'm continuing on my own path. I'm making different decisions than the rest of the family. And that's very hard. It sounds great being autonomous, but it actually takes courage. It takes dedication. It takes responsibility. And if I explain it, everybody says, oh, but we all want that. We all want to be free and respected, and we want to have confidence. But it's hard work. The spiritual path is hard work.
It's very clear. Yes. So it's taking responsibility, of course, for our inner world, isn't it? Because I remember feeling that way, like for so long I couldn't be myself, because it's almost like I knew who the real self was, but I couldn't express that because of too many barriers, too many to-do list, one, but also abiding with rules, outside rules, and acting, behaving certain ways.
And it's a normal way of life, because the first half of your life, you are born into the systems, the family systems, your societal systems, educational systems, and you have to adapt to survive, to be taken into the safety of that system. So the first half, you are dedicated to understand how you can play that game of life. So you measure and adapt and develop a structure, a personality, an ego, a matrix that helped you predict that if I do this, I get that, because that's a matrix. It's probability. If I do, you try through trial and error. If you were in puberty like I was, you try where your boundaries are, what results you have to gain love, respect, self-confidence, because we are not given that anymore by birth. If our parents would have been conscious parents, they would have nurtured the I am presence, the divinity. But unfortunately, centuries ago, that divinity, that spirituality had been taken out of humanity because religion put God in church instead of integrated and accepted and saw that the human has a spiritual connection with God inside of themselves, not outside of themselves. And that's where this whole thing started. That's why you have conditions, because you were looking for love in all the wrong places. And at a certain point in everybody's life, well, not everybody's life, some people live by their script and never wake up to their deeper connection with their soul. But when people get sick, when they lose their jobs, when they have accidents, when they divorce, those life-threatening situations wake you up. You become aware. Who am I? What is it that I actually want? I'm starting to look like my mom and dad. Is that what I want? Who am I? What is my identity? What is my purpose here on this earth? And then people start questioning. And that is the main space for development, when you are able to create space for yourself to start questioning, to start to go inside and find out what life has to tell you there, not outside where you are distracted and conditioned.
Right. It's very clear to me that this is exactly what happened here with me and so many of us. And I guess the question that comes to me is this something that it is changing now, in the sense of our societies, some societies that you're aware of, creating more space for the soul to be free, for this autonomy, as you call it, this spirit to come to earth and express itself? Or are we still living this collective matrix?
I think it's both ways. I think we always have to do of the evolution of our planet. We evolve if we want it or not. We have evolved for centuries as human beings. And I think that we cannot deny that the children that are born right now have such different potential. And we can label them and say they are sensitive, oversensitive, they are this, they are that, instead of looking at our systems and saying, hey, we don't have the human type of vehicle anymore that adapts to the system. These evolved beings that are born right now, the new wave indigo children, they carry so much more light. They are spiritual awake when they are born. They can't adapt. They don't have that that mind board computer. So there's the evolution taking place. Everybody is feeling ascension symptoms, and I see that word becoming more common.
Yeah.
But I also see a lack of understanding of what it truly is. So there's the raising of the frequencies of our planet, which is very normal because we evolve. Yeah. And then there's the systems that are trying to control us in a way that, you know, when you want to lead a group, you have to make rules. You have to say this. We agree to this. We can't do that. Yeah. So, but the question is, are you leading with the intention to set people free and to assist them towards health, autonomy, and light, or are you creating systems and leading people to control them and to disempower them, to make them do what you want?
Right.
And I think it depends where you are in the world, but most of the systems are very old-fashioned and based on control and not on liberation. And these two processes are both taking place. So yes, there is more people waking up because evolution is pushing them towards ascension, towards wanting that spiritual freedom, wanting the depth, and the societal systems just don't offer that depth. And it'll go the right way because the energy flows where it wants to go.
Right.
And the systems cannot remain like they are because they are just not handing people the solutions that we need. So I am really hoping for more and more people to wake up, to become autonomous, and so together we can start creating new healthy systems.
Yes, yes, and the idea is to become aware that we don't need to abide. We don't need to follow certain rules anymore. We don't need to be the way society wants us to be, and that's a big one.
The biggest thing is we need to be able to question, not just follow blindly, but just question. Is this really good for me, for us, for our children, for our animals, for our nature? Is this really the only solution we can think of?
Right.
But because humanity has been so dumbed down to be busy, like you say, you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is because you have to catch up. There's money to be made. There's a pension to be paid for. There's a mortgage to be paid for. Children need to be fed. Life is getting more expensive. And when you come back from work, you have to feed your children. And by the time it's 8, 9 o'clock, you're tired and you just want to, so that's also the realistic state of what most people have to deal with.
It's a fitting in type of thing, but it's interesting. It's almost like a paradox at this point, right, Danielle? That we are here, and then now we wake up for the deeper reality of who we are, of what this is, life is, and now we are in the middle of the matrix, as you call it. So now we have to kind of know. It's almost like use our creative intelligence to know how to navigate this new environment that has both sides pulling us. Although the spiritual side is the one that should be leading the way. Although I do see life as this huge spiritual happening. So I don't really say that there's nothing that's not spiritual to me. So I always say that because it really feels that way. Even when I see the dark forces and so much suffering, it's still part of that spiritual path. It's still right. I would love it for you to comment on that, because this is something where a lot of us get stuck and we don't know where to go from there.
Well, because if you want to change something in your own life, if you want to change something in the systems where you are living or where you are active, you always have to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
To see where do we need to regain balance. And that's why my book talks about the human collective awakening and the individual awakening, because both, we have to look at both. The outside world has an effect on us, but our influence in the end lies within us. Yes. If we really want to change something on the outside, the path, first of all, is to go within, to work on your own awakening, to work on your own process, to become autonomous, to transmute darkness into light, to cut loose from the generation of trauma and neglect and emotional disability, really, because there was no space for people and for people before us to actually wake up and to take back intuitive, emotional, divine, unconditional love as a focus forward. We have that opportunity right now. The energies are helping us. There is so much information. I mean, your podcasts, your platforms. That's why I share everything I do in Dutch and in English. We have that right now. We have so much information and opportunity to make a change, but the change starts within. As an individual, you can only create an impact if you cut loose from the conditioning and from the status quo, from the 3D, like we call it, and to enter a period of chaos. Because, you know, if you let go of something, what are you going to do? Who are you? What are you going to do now? That's part of a spiritual path. But then you can alter your way of life, your way of being, your way of giving, of sharing love and making changes. And that's where we will meet together. And that's where we need to connect with each other on these beautiful platforms like you have created, to reconnect, to invite people over, to start creating a network, a ripple effect of higher frequencies.
Right. Yeah.
But it starts within.
Yes, that's a very powerful message that we all need to hear, because sometimes I have done it before. I would go to spiritual communities for help instead of going within first, and then I would get myself in trouble many times.
But I mean, we need the communities. I have my online programs where I say, you know, come in my inner circle and I will hand you the information. I will give you the tools. But in the end, it is you who has to change. And when you wake up in the morning, is actually what I teach people: not look at your clock, not look on your 21 days. Start with taking up a spiritual practice, taking up gratitude, taking up checking in, taking up feeling the emotions. And then I start leading people on the path of awakening to do something with that inner world. But it starts with you. You know, picking up the tools somewhere is very important. And we have to create networks where people feel recognized. You can feel very alone when you start on this path. What was that like for you?
Yes. Yeah, that is so true. I remember, I guess what I was trying to go with that when I said that I went to spiritual communities trying to look for answers, is that I had not given myself the time to kind of deepen my own understanding of what I wanted to go, the path that I had to go. So I would just go, I would just take and just pack and go. And then I remember spiritual teachers telling me that I had to go back and find my own truth.
Yeah.
So that was always the message came over and over again.
I remember the first few times, and you think, well, I go there and then I get something and then it's all done and then we can go on. And it's not like that.
No, it takes effort. It takes a lot of practice. Yeah. And this continuous kind of work together. That's why I do this today, because this is like, it's food for soul. That's how I feel. I feel nourished.
And what you say is so true. It's an ongoing process. whenever people say I'm enlightened, you have to really, question, because nobody is enlightened, because we have to deal with the reality of society, which triggers stress, which is life. You are being triggered to expand. You are being triggered in every cycle, and layers upon layers of darkness are arising to be transmuted. So it's a cycle. It's your soul expands, and it doesn't end when the human body dies. The soul keeps expanding, and it's cycle after cycle. And what I think is very important, that in all my writings, on my channels, in my book, and in everything I do, I always tell people what I'm going through personally, what my experiences are. But even this week, I wrote an article about nightmares I had about past timelines that re-emerged, and that really pushed up layers of emotions that I had to work through. But I talk about that in my vlogs, in my articles, because I know it's inspiring. I do not want to be a teacher who is above anyone, or who pretends that I've got it all done and dusted. It's not. It's ongoing work. And also, I'm a normal human being who still gets, pulled back in some old layers. Well, I have many layers. It's my storyline, but I always believe that that's because I have had to go through so much, so I can explain it to people, so I can share it, and I can inspire people to take on the work, and to, in the beginning, just do what I do, and find your way, and to find your own truth and find your own cycle. But we all need inspiration and recognition for what we deal with.
Yes, that is so true. Yeah, I love your clarity and wisdom when it comes to everything, of course, that you speak of. And also this idea of becoming enlightened, like the destination where we are there already. Speaking of enlightenment and awakening, two words, are they, I know in your book, I have to mention this now, your book is divided into 4 parts. So that's guiding us into the process of mastery of self, awareness, mastery, awakening, and enlightenment. So I had that impression that awakening and enlightenment, they were the same thing. But are they? Yeah. Talk to me for a moment about the difference between those two ideas.
First of all, it's not a linear process. So it's cyclical. So it's not like you can say, oh, I'm awake now, and that's it. Because like I said, with the nightmares I was experiencing this week, I woke up to a new layer of my unconscious. So when you become aware, that's what I said, the hard moments in life when you start questioning, what is happening to me? Who am I? What is this life I'm leading? What is happening on the outside? Why is this happening in the world? That's becoming aware. When you start to question, that's the first phase of awakening. In that space of awareness, when you dare to question, when you dare to say, there is something not right here, that takes you out of the autopilot. The autopilot of the ego just wants to continue and stay in the comfort zone of what we know, although it's not healthy. So when you become aware in the first phase, that's when you create space. That's when you create detachment from how you were leading your life and how you were thinking and feeling. So you create space, and you become conscious of yourself. Hey, I always do this, or I always say that, or if somebody says that to me, that already also always really hurts. You become aware of self. You become aware of the world. That's when you kind of create a little bit of separation between the mind, the body, and the spirit. If you question and if you are curious. In the second phase, that mastery, what I'm teaching, is is really wanting to understand, what is my mind doing? What is my body saying to me? What are all these emotions? Yeah. If you want to navigate anything, you have to become knowledgeable first. Yeah. So first you start questioning, then you can master anything when you start studying it, when you want to understand things. And that allows you to awaken. Then in my 5-week first program, The Path to Awakening, people wake up to different timelines of their reality. They start realizing that I am still living timelines that I haven't healed in my past. They get triggered by somebody at work, or by your mother-in-law, which is always a good thing, or by your ex-husband, or by your children. They say something and it triggers, pulls you back to timelines when your soul was separated, where you felt dishonored, where you felt the negative connotation of the I am. Oh, I am not important. I am not loved. Yeah. Those moments they cause the trauma. And awakening means when you become aware of and awaken to those truths, that there have been people in your life, that there have been systems in your life that have disconnected you from your soul, from your spirit. And only if you awaken to that truth and you want to take responsibility for it, which is hard, because you might love your father and your mother and that school teacher very much. And it's very easy. It's much easier to say, oh, but they meant well. And then you bury it down in your subconscious again. If you want to awaken to layers of truth, that's where karma comes in. You have to be able to say, this is my responsibility now. I'm a grown up. I am responsible for how I respond to my children. But this was the responsibility of my mother. And although I can see in her family line that she comes from mothers who were also emotionally damaged, that didn't give her the permission to hurt my soul. When you allow yourself that space, that's how difficult awakening is. When you can hold that space, that's where enlightenment comes in. Because then when you say, I am awake, I create space for this hard truth, then you can start transmuting that darkness into enlightenment. But compassion only happens when you allow yourself to feel the pain, the anger, the suffering first. When you sabotage that and say, it's not very nice of me to be angry at my mother, or it's not very nice of me to set boundaries and disconnect from people that haven't respected me, then that's the love and light, compassion that doesn't lead to healing, that leads to enlightenment, which is very hard to understand for people. Because spirituality is all about love, but love also sets boundaries and demands responsibility and respect. Otherwise, it's not love, it's drama.
Oh, wow.
All these phases are teaching people, which is a very big holistic process. It's inner work, it's outer work, it's emotional healing work, it's transmutation work, it's creative work, it's working on your gifts, it's working on your communication skills, it's everything.
Wow. It all makes sense to me, resonates true. And perhaps that's the reason why these conversations, the title for them is The Freedom to Feel, perhaps because I sensed that most of us have this this tendency to bury everything, all the emotions that are hard and really hard to look at it. And then we kind of bypass that process and become spiritual, or in the sense of engage with spiritual practices, but then we are not getting anywhere. We're still not feeling good and free from those hard emotions. So that makes so much sense, Danielle.
And what you describe is the beautiful survival mechanism that we have as human beings to push something down like a ball underwater, and we bury it under a top. And you have to have that survival mechanism. It's beautiful to have an ego because you need it. As children, you need to be able to survive and continue your life with what you do have. You know, you see how children can have the most hardest traumatic experiences and then go out and play.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to do that. But there comes a point in life, and that's why you get triggered when you get older. That's why I'm still working through layers. Because when I was younger, there was no space for me to say to my mom and dad, can we talk about this, Dad? I really have a feeling that you're drinking too much and that you're projecting all your anger and insecurity on me. I don't want you to hit me anymore. I couldn't do that.
Right.
And I couldn't say to my mother, whoa, blah, blah, blah. There was no space. So all of that pain, all of that suffering had to go somewhere. But that container still lives with you in your emotional body. And you still attract those frequencies because they are, you have the opportunity to heal them. But you have free will. You can push them down again and say, it's all the fault of my ex-husband. And I sometimes feel that.
Right.
Yes, but in the end, I couldn't go on and blame him for my suffering. I had to take responsibility and say, I'm going to leave my husband and divorce. Like, you cannot keep blaming people who trigger you. He did give me the opportunity to heal the pain that was re-emerging, which was the same pain that was caused in other timelines.
That's true. Wow.
And that's what I help people with, to very respectfully and lovingly create a loving space to slowly open that container. And that's where all the not so nice things come out. And then stand by somebody and say, you can do it. This is the work you need to do. Yes, I know it's very easy. It's much easier to push it down again. But when people come to me, they are normally very tired of pushing everything down. And they feel that it's time. They just don't know how anymore. Right. So I help them on their path of healing to keep creating those spaces where you can let go of those experiences and let these emotions emerge. Emotion is energy in motion.
Right.
But if we don't let the energy flow, it stagnates. It stagnates and it actually becomes solid. It contracts to the organs and the muscles and the nervous system in the place around the chakra where you are being hurt or where you are damaged. We have a beautiful energy system that tells us exactly on which topic, on which moment, with which emotion we are dealing.
Wow. Like I said to you, I'm almost mesmerized. And the soul, it's like, wow, this is amazing. So true. I mean, it's so true. It's so true. So is it goes back to the freedom that we are actually running from, that freedom to be, to feel everything and to let the energy flow. We are just running from it.
We all have that remembrance from where we come from. Before you were born, you were just a spirit. You were a piece of God, a part of the oneness consciousness. And that soul, that spirit, descended into this beautiful body that you were given with an empty mind. That board computer is loaded with software in the first 7 years. But when you were born, just look at a baby. You are pure love and light. You are pure consciousness that descended into the body. And that's where the duality game of life starts. That's where the first time you feel the separation. You are separated from the oneness consciousness into the human body, and you come out of the womb and you feel boundless. And you feel separated at the same time, which is very, very, very confusing. And you forget, because that's the whole game of life, you forget who you are. But if we create awakened communities and parents, conscious parents, who can receive their baby and right away remember them, that they are one, that they are the I am present in a body with a God-given gift, with a seed of life on potential and purpose, in the exact place that they were born into. But we forget that we come from that freedom, and we search for that freedom our whole lives, because somewhere deep down inside we remember where we come from.
Yes, right. Yeah, we do remember that. It's just, it seems like it's exactly what you said. We have to go through many layers. It's that unlearning process to uncover that again.
Yeah.
Listening to you, I mean, I have so many. I had programmed so much. We're almost at the end, and I have lots of things here. Your book is just so, I mean, just resonates so much that I just kept going. I have a lot of notes, but I'm going to forget about the notes for a moment. You mentioned babies and children. If they were actually inspired to, or taught to just to see that the freedom in them, the freedom that they are, who they really are.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is something that it has started somewhere in the world, in this reality, in schools.
Yes. I see it in Holland. There are schools starting that have stepped outside of the system, where children are conditioned into, having grades and being divided into groups. You're very good, you're not good, you're good at this, you're good at that. So yes, there are new schools starting. I'm seeing that. I'm loving that. I'm working at a school where they really nurture natural learning, natural development.
Yeah.
And that means from 4 years old until 12-year-old, you work on your own portfolio, you work on your own gifts, and nobody's better than anyone else.
Right.
And I see that we have beautiful times ahead of us.
I know. I'm excited about that vision. But this is also, your work is something that obviously it's very obvious to me. If mothers, they are engaging with and working with you, then they are passing that on to their children. So, or their nephews, children in the family.
I always say to everybody, when you do your spiritual work, if you don't want to do it for yourself because it's too hard, do it for your children. Yes. Because you're actually working on the generations before you. Your mother and your grandmothers will heal energetically. You don't even have to explain them what you're doing because of the work you're doing. But most of all, you're feeding forward. So you're feeding back and you're feeding forward the higher consciousness that will help in the evolution of humanity to build different systems. You are the difference. If we really make this a great awakening, not just an individual awakening, but I really dream of making a big impact together. So this is a time we look back on where we have really made a difference. We really started a new era of, well, the golden era, they call it already, and it's been talked about in scripture, where humanity remembered who they truly were in their divinity, and broke free from the controlled systems that dumb you down and that only serve the human purpose and not the spiritual purpose. There's so much more possible if we awaken and if we really take enlightenment as something that is possible for everyone and in all of our life. Spiritual living shouldn't be some different kind of living anymore. We should want to integrate it in all of our systems.
Yes.
So spirituality already, just like religion, already has a bit of a backlash connotation and interpretation, which is a shame, really. It's returning to our nature. It's returning to holistic approaches in everything we do, in our politics. If we need any politics, I would say community. Let's just leave politics behind,
Yeah.
create
Yes.
that live in balance, like in older civilizations. Let's create healthcare systems that have homeopathy and natural herbalist healing as
Right.
their main aspect.
Right.
Well, I can talk about this for hours
Oh
because
my
I
God.
really
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
that we're on a pivoting page for humanity.
Yeah. So I love the way you say that. It's actually going back, it's a return to natural living. It's not even spiritual living. It's organic. It's the essence is going back, just going back into essence. It's not, yeah, I know we label spiritual, but we don't need to use that word, although I do love the
True.
word.
When an ill person used to come to a shaman or a woman,
Yeah.
the shaman would ask, when is the last time that you laughed? When is the last time that you danced? When is the last time that you saw the moon? When is the last time that you swam in the river? When is the last time? Well, when is the last time? We have lost our connection with nature, with spirits, with the cycles, with the rhythm of the flow of energy. We have been swimming against the tides and being, you know, you're even getting compliments when you work really hard,
Yeah.
when you have a big Tesla in front of you, or and you have
Yeah.
this and you have that. But we actually went the wrong way. I don't believe that we live in developed societies. I think we are living in left behind societies. The true civilizations that should be our example are the ones that we left far away in history: Lemuria, Tartaria, where we had control over energy, the Tesla energy, where we had healing, energy healing, herbal healing. That was the true knowledge. And I really believe, and it's my mission to also bring those things back to people. And
Oh my God.
it's actually very simple.
Yeah. Oh, I love, yeah, I have goosebumps again. I know we talked before and I had goosebumps all of now again. So yeah, this, it is simple. When you talk about nature, this returning to connect to nature, and you just mentioned some of the ways to do it. It just resonated true to the body. I know the body's connected with everything else, so it's
Simple things. Make sure that
yeah,
I start my day with my bare feet in the grass in the morning. Do that at least once a week.
right,
Go take your shoes off. It's not good for you. Connect to the earth. Go find a piece of nature. Walk barefoot. Go to the seaside. That's the best there is. You have sea and you have the sand. Walk barefoot. That's the easiest spiritual thing you can integrate in your life quite quickly.
yeah,
And try to not be a slave to your phone and to your agenda and to your watch. It's
right.
a start.
Right. So in a way, it is spiritualizing our daily living, just our thoughts, and bringing joy to it, and fun and flexibility, because it's quite the opposite. What the way? Yeah, we have definitely lost the way, Danielle. We have become
Yeah,
very inflexible, too serious.
absolutely. Oh, I agree. I always say that people around the age of 40 have truly lost they have integrated a seriousness and lost their childhood
Yeah,
joy and passion. And the
yeah,
only thing they're waiting for is their monthly paycheck, their
right,
monthly dope.
right,
And it's a shame. We should integrate creativity again, dance, laugh,
right.
eat with the seasons, eat with the cycles, eat with nature. And yeah,
Oh, it's just, yeah. What can I say? It just resonates so true to me. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
thank you for
It's,
having me.
yeah, it's a gift. So let me go through my pile of notes. So I know I had so many here, so many questions for you. So your work, as you have been describing, is the work of ascension. That's really what it is, but in a in simple words, it is really the return to who we are, to joy again, to natural living again, which has a lot of harmony in it. So some of your program, besides the book, The Path to Awakening, Master Your Mind, Body, and Spirit, you also offer many programs and workshops.
It's 3 programs, really. If you want to work on your own awakening, it's 3 programs that can help you and guide you. The Path of Awakening is the first 5-week program. It's where you become aware. Yeah. And then the second program is where you start to deprogram your mind, to decondition your mind, and start working on healing, start working on integrating, and start working on what are my gifts, what is my path, what is my purpose. That's 10 weeks. And then the third path is the path of evolution, where I assist people to actually actualize that purpose. And it's always about empowering energy frequencies into your abilities, into modern societies. We all have a gift, and I express mine in my way, and it's really creating this space and do the coaching to activate people to start on their ascension path to actualize what they came here to do. Right. So it's 3 paths that are programs where I teach, where I have meditations ready for people to do their healing work with. I have my own writings, teachings written down. You work on assignments, writing assignments, creative assignments. So it's something for everybody's type of learning. I do that in online groups, or I do that in one-on-one coaching. Yes, and I also always have a few workshops planned. And I'm starting my inner circle. So that's a monthly, well, you become one of my inner circle people, and I share my knowledge, I share my inspiration on a weekly basis.
Wonderful. So there's a lot of resources from you. Your website's beautiful too. I went there. It's very, I mean, it's just very relaxing to navigate that kind of visuals, because it resonates to the heart. So it's a joy, really. I love your website. I love the colors and everything about it.
They were created by a very beautiful soul, a friend of mine who knows my work, who knows me, and who said, "Oh, wait, I'll make your images." And he did that for nothing. And everything was just like perfect. So thank you for the compliment. I will pass it on.
Yes, please. Beautiful. So the website is House of Mastery, NL. And I'll have that on the link, clickable link on the interview profile as well.
Thank you.
You're about to say something, Danielle.
Yeah, my creativity, you see, well, I like to talk about, I'm very passionate about this subject. I love to talk about it, and I write a lot about it. I create videos, I create vlogs, I create podcasts, because this is just something that I'm being pushed to share. So I need places where I can express this. And if you like my work, there is different ways for you to pick up these pieces of information. And yes, I'm making a few changes on the moment in the way I work. I'm going to stop posting on Telegram and Facebook, and only work with newsletters, where I'm going to put all my creativity in to make it more personal, to make it more focused for myself as well. And so I'm hoping to work some more with you in the future.
Yes, right. I was about to say it. I didn't forget. So Danielle and I are talking, and we'll be working together. That'll be a joy for me to share this information, because she has so much to share that I see that this will be just perfect for the Fit for Joy community to access just a little bit at a time. And I love picking those passages, whatever that calls my attention from the heart, to just putting out there. So my Fit for Joy audience, they know that. So that would be wonderful to do the same with you. And I have been doing this with so many people. I have beautiful, amazing, yeah, people around me doing exactly that. So it's working together as a community. That's what I see, just coming together and sharing love. So before we say goodbye for today, I have one question for you. If there is one message that you wish everyone to take from this conversation today, what would that be?
Is that I want you to know that you are very special and that you also carry a piece of God inside of you, and you might have forgotten it, but then this is my space where I'm allowed to connect to you and tell you and remember how special and loved and beautiful you are.
Yeah. Yes. I remember hearing this, how loved you are. And I never forgotten. It took a while to just kind of integrate that in my daily life, but now it is integrated, because when I feel it, I don't feel like crying anymore. I don't feel like it's something new that I'm listening here from the first time. When you say it, it's like, oh yes, that's it. It's here.
We have so much support from where we come from, our ancestors, our guides, angels, ascended masters. They're always with us. And they really, really, really love you and want the best for you. And when you start going within, you will find the connection there, the love there. You are never alone. Never, never. There is always love there for you. And you are always to talk to all day long, all the energies, all the animals, everything you see and experience in your life is there just for you, because you play a really big part in the huge higher plan to create heaven on earth. You are born right where you should have been born, and you carry with you the seed of life that carries that little bit of love that is needed in your environment. And we need to be remembered of that.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, Danielle, when you, the body, just the mind react when you talked about everything around you is a reminder of that. That's true. We tend to forget because the difficult people around us, they it seems like yeah, right, that it's not right, doesn't feel right, but it is trying to show you the truth.
Yeah, life is magical. It is, but we forget that when we only subside to that 9 to 5 working on your alarm clock and agenda. Life is so magical, so beautiful, and so are you. You have such great purpose and such great powers to transmute everything into love on your own, in your own gift. I mean, I do that by the words I talk, but everybody does it in their own way, and it's you're surrounded by magic. You are magic. You are pure love and pure light. And when you remember that, please walk outside tomorrow and smile at people with that remembrance, and people smile back. That's how we create life. That is what being a light worker is about, to remember who we are, to accept the fact that you are love and light. Although the ego will say, well, but that's crazy. She says, that's not true. People will think I'm weird or life is not that good. That's the ego. And that's mastery. It's overcoming the ego and say, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to choose this magic. I'm going to choose that I too am an energy mastery alchemist. I too can transmute anything into love, anything, just by saying something, just by doing something. Do something tomorrow out of love and see how the response of the universe, of the people, of the animals, of everything around you will respond to you. It's something we can give very easily and it will come back right away.
Right. Oh my God, I needed to hear that. Thank you so much, Danielle.
You're welcome, and thank you too. You are a beautiful being. Thank you for being here on this planet. Thank you for creating this space.
Thank you for everything. I don't even know where to begin. Thank you. It's not enough, but
it's always a little bit with me. It's always a little bit much, and I'm sorry. I'm trying to do it in very things, but I always come with a lot of love and a lot of love, a lot of information.
Yes, I know. Thank you again, Danielle, for everything. And we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.